All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the February 7th, 2023 Hempstead Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? Here.
Councilman Carini.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Here.
Councilwoman Miller.
Here.
Councilman Muscarella.
Here. I'm now going to ask Councilman Muscarella to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand, hand over your heart,
Wait.
hats off. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You good? All right, Madam Clerk, please call the first public hearing.
We have the petition of the Commissioner of Buildings to demolish and remove the open foundation and detached garage and to remove all litter and debris from property located in Lawrence.
Okay, does any member of the board wish to be heard on this? All right, I do not have a slip on item number 1. Does any member of the public who did not sign in wish to be heard on item number 1? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have the petition of the Commissioner of Buildings to demolish and remove the two-story High Ranch wood frame one-family dwelling with attached garage and to remove all litter and debris from a property located in Oceanside.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? Okay, I do have a slip on this. I have Ms. Chower from Oceanside or Mr. Chower from Oceanside. Hi, how you doing? If you just go to the back mic and give your name and address, that'd be awesome. Thanks. Go right over there. Right there in the back one. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate the board considering the motion. This is a blight on our community. We have a whole row of neighbors that have lived at the area on Maria Street and Widener Avenue. It's been over 30 years since this property sat there post-Sandy. It's a danger to the community, not only the building itself, but raccoons and wild animals. And it's a shame that these folks have waited almost 30 years for this type of action to finally come through. We eagerly request and hope that you'll approve the motion and have this demolished as soon as possible so they can wake up and have pride on the street they live in and hopefully see a new foundation and home go up soon. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for taking the time to come. I don't have any other slips on item number 2. Did anybody else wish to be heard? Then I will actually just ask for a motion.
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
You know, for any of the residents who just came from Oceanside, Danny, could you identify yourself? No, raise your hand. Wait. That no, not you. No. The deputy commissioner is the deputy commissioner right there. Why don't? Well, yeah, it's okay. Why don't you exchange information with him and he can give you updates as the process begins, so you know about the demolition. Okay. All right. Thank you all very much for coming. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have the petition of the Commissioner of Buildings to demolish and remove the two-story wood frame one-family dwelling with a new two-car garage and to remove all litter and debris from another property in Oceanside.
Okay. Any member of the board wish to hear on this? I do have a slip from Mr. Steinert. Steinert? Yeah. If you please go to the podium in the back there, give your name and address for the record. That'd be great.
Good morning. My name is Adam Steiner. I reside at 3248 Judith Lane in Oceanside. I'm the next door neighbor to the property being considered right now. I appreciate the board entertaining this motion. The building is unsafe and dangerous. It's a fire hazard and a public nuisance. How is that? Well, the town has marked this building as unsafe for over 8 years. The property has been abandoned for over 8 years. There's been flood and other damage subsequent to that. No work, structural or otherwise, has been done on the building. The building is also a public nuisance. Birds and other animals are consistently going in and out. The door locks are regularly broken. On the porch or the deck in the backyard is regularly used for storage by people for cans and bottles that they're collecting. On the block, we have many, many young children who are constantly running back and forth in front of the house, up towards our house to the neighbor on the other side as well. Squatters have used the property in the past, and it is a fire hazard as well. The grass is rarely cut. Garbage that gets blown into the yard is rarely picked up unless somebody else goes to get it. And so we request that the town pass the motion and move forward with demolishing the house. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for taking the time to come. I don't have any other slips on item number 3. Does anybody not sign in wishes to be heard on item number 3? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Creenie.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
So, Danny, get to wave your hand again, okay? This time, same lines. Why don't you just kind of communicate so I can give you the timetable when stuff's getting done, okay? All right. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Woodmere.
Okay. Any member of the board wish to be heard about this? Okay, I don't have any slips on item number 4. Any member of the public who wishes to be heard on item number 4 did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Creenie.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Baldwin, Belrose Terrace, Franklin Square, near Island Park, Merrick, Wantaw, West Hempstead, and Woodmere.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? Okay, I don't have any slips on item number 5. Anybody want to be heard on item number 5 that did not sign in? Tricked me. All right, if not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Levittown, near Limbrook, Seaford, and near Valley Stream.
Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? All right, I don't have any slips on item number 6. Anybody wants to be heard on item number 6 that did not sign in? May I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding traffic regulations in the vicinity of schools in Franklin Square and Wantaw.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I don't have any slips on item number 7. Anybody wish to be heard on item number 7 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding bus stops in Wantaw.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I don't have any slips on item number 8. Did anybody want to be heard on item number 8 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in Belmore, Elmont, Inwood, Oceanside, Roosevelt, Uniondale, and West Hempstead.
Madam Clerk, please, hold on. Any member of the board wish to be heard? I don't have any slips on item number 9. Anybody didn't sign in and wishes to be heard on item number 9? If you please give me name and address for the record, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, Mita J. Maraday, resident of the world, advocate for the underserved. With regard to this item, I had spoken before with regard to the handicap parking. I understand the justification. I brought up the fact that there are a number of roads in the township that are in disrepair, so I just want to note for the record that East Centennial Avenue in Roosevelt, the little hamlet that I don't know if it's been cracked, fracked, or packed, that is one of the roads in the township that is in disrepair and requires some attention. So that's pretty much what I needed to say about that. Thank you. I'm saving
Okay.
myself for later today.
Okay, thanks, great. Anybody else who wishes to be heard on actually item number 9? Okay, if not, may I please have a motion?
I move that we pass the motion.
Hold on, wait.
I move that we pass the motion.
Get a second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have the application of Maclex LLC to include the properties 576 and 576A Uniondale Avenue into the GSS district in Uniondale.
Give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good morning. For the applicant, Matthew Ingber from the law firm of Brown, Altman, and DeLeo, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301, Melville, New York. I'm here today for the application of Maclex LLC that seeks to develop the former gasoline station and now vacant property at 576 and 576A Uniondale Avenue in Uniondale with a new gas station with 8 fueling positions, a 2,522 square foot convenience store with ADA compliant restroom, and associated site and landscaping improvements. Specifically, the applicant seeks the following relief from this board: to include the property in the GSS district, site plan approval, as well as area and sign variances. As a matter of housekeeping, the public mailing and posting for this hearing were performed in accordance with the town code and were submitted to the town clerk on February 3rd of 2023. With me today is Chris Tartaglia, PE, of High Point Engineering, who is available to address any questions that this board or the public may have. Prior to today's hearing, the applicant submitted the following documents in support of the application: a petition in support of the request to include the property in the GSS district, a narrative in support of the variance requests, a color site plan rendering prepared by High Point Engineering dated January 21st of 2023, an aerial plan also prepared by High Point Engineering dated January 20th of this year, as well as a color 3D rendering showing the property as improved with a new gas station, convenience store, and landscaping. Can we change the screen to the color 3D rendering? As a brief history, the property was formerly improved with a gasoline station with 4 fueling positions, as well as a 6-bay auto repair shop and accessory storage building. The former gas station fell into disrepair and has been vacant for approximately 5 years. We note that the applicant purchased the property in December 2021 and raised the existing structures at the site. Thereafter, the applicant brought this application to redevelop the property with a new gasoline station, convenience store, as well as to make much-needed landscaping improvements. So again, as mentioned, the property was previously used as a gas station, and based on our review of town records, there was a gas station with auto repair station at the site beginning circa 1931. And then historically, the site has been unattractive. There's been very little landscaping. So, let me see. So we note that this new site plan has been designed to maximize site circulation, vehicular safety, as well as to mitigate against any possible impacts to the residential development to the west. The site has also been designed to reduce the number of curb cuts. Just for example, currently there are 3 curb cuts on Uniondale Avenue. We're going to reduce that to 2. And there's currently 2 curb cuts on Jerusalem Avenue, and we will be reducing that to 1 curb cut. As can be seen on the color site plan drawing or on this, the rendering on your screen, the applicant will be installing a new PVC fencing and adding much-needed landscaping along both frontages as well as along the rear property line. So just for example, along the rear, there's going to be 27 evergreen that will grow to approximately 15 feet in height once mature. The applicant will also be adding 17 shrubs with additional landscaping along the Uniondale frontage. In addition, green space and perennials will be planted along Uniondale Avenue and Jerusalem Avenue. So with that, we have our project engineer who is available to answer any site-specific questions that the board may have or that the public may have. Thank you.
Deputy Supervisor Arno has a couple of initial questions.
All right. Okay, first of all, the fence is in poor condition. There's an opening in the lower right north side. A small child could climb through that. The fence itself is bent and not secured properly in many points of the perimeter. The tarp, a cloth that is placed on the fence, tattered and ripped in many places. That needs to be repaired, replaced with plastic slots. The vacant pump stands that are inside the right have holes that need to be covered and this should, at this time, there's absolutely nothing we can do with this except reserve decision. You really have to get in there, and you have to, this place, what you have up there is beautiful. But what we have here, the pictures that we took of where it's looked now, and the thing about it is, there's a gas station right on the corner from you, and there's another gas station down the street. There was a gas station across the street before this, and they had to go out of business because they couldn't keep up, with the amount of, they didn't make enough money to be there. So I'm very concerned about that. Please, you must make sure you take care of that fence immediately and make sure that you fix it so the kids can't crawl through there.
Yeah, the deputy supervisor, I think, is spot on. You took possession of the property in 21. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Did you guys do the demolition, or was it done prior?
The applicants, they did the demolition.
Okay, because like I said, I'm looking at photos that were probably taken yesterday. In fact, that clearly show, an insanely dangerous condition. Your fence is in disarray. You have could consider it a basement trap that apparently one of your workers thought it was a great idea to put a door on, that somebody moved the door. That's an incredible hazard. The fencing and railing is all bent around the whole area and absolutely, and I think the deputy supervisor was being kind and saying in disrepair. We have real safety concerns, that have to be addressed immediately as far as we're concerned. Am I right about that, deputy supervisor? So I think that's really some of the first hurdles you have in the whole process, is maintaining the property in an orderly manner for the neighbors in the community.
And not only that, you have to remember, I know you removed those gas tanks, but there's a hole, a deep hole, and someone tried to take a door to place over some of it. There are two of them that look like that, and the way this looks, nothing like that. I mean, that's a whole different ballgame that you have up there. Because if you want to see some of these, you can come and get them. I'll let you see them.
I think the deputy supervisor is right. I mean, you obviously, there was some underground storage when you did the tanks. And I don't know who did your work, but I don't think like a $19 door laid on top of a hole, and I'll be happy to present that from Home Depot, signifies any real concern about safety, especially since it's open. So I think, the first thing is you got to get somebody in there today and start maintaining that.
Those are just some of the pictures.
Okay, I have a question in reference to the, I know they're looking at the, I don't want.
Did you get the one like the door with the doorknob that leads to a hole that's been moved?
We have it.
Yeah, okay, I don't think, I think fair enough to agree, you don't think that's rather safe, do you?
No. And
Okay.
we addressed it.
Okay.
What about the fence? We need to do that ASAP.
Yep, we will.
And you see all the garbage and so forth. I know some of the residents have not seen that, because if they had, they would have been in here like crazy. I've been on you. So please, you got to make sure you get it taken care of.
So I have a question. The board has grave concern about the condition of the property as it is. Do you have I see BP is written all over the blueprints and stuff like that. Do you have a contract with BP? This would be a BP project?
I'll answer that question. Just to introduce myself, my name is Chris Tartaglia from the firm High Point Engineering. We're located in Melville. It's a good question, Councilman. So the location, ownership is actually in the room for the property, and they will be operating the facility. And so I really appreciate, first and foremost, you bringing the conditional issues to our attention, and they will be addressed immediately after this meeting. I'm going to take that up with them immediately. Thank you for calling that out to us. I passed by the site and I did notice that the fence was in disrepair, but because of the fence, I didn't go in. I assumed everything was okay inside, but clearly it's not. So we will have those hazards addressed forthwith. With regard to the operation of the facility, so just to take a step back, this board may recall that this property before our client, or right at the time our client closed on it, was before this board for a forced demolition that the town was going to take on demolishing the property. I appeared before the board, I believe it was September of 2020 or thereabouts, and we pulled permits within 2 weeks with the assistance from the building department, and that building was down within another 2 weeks. So that shows the wherewithal of the current owner, who was having issues actually closing on the property because of some title issues. But he took it upon himself to do that demolition immediately. That was a year and a half ago, approximately. So indeed, there have been some conditional issues with people breaking down the fence, and I just want to reiterate that those will be addressed. And as far as the new facility, folks, we're looking at a $2 to $3 million investment here on the owner's part. This is not a fly-by-night operation. The fact that some other gas stations might have failed or gone under is probably because they were very outdated. It's very expensive to keep up with the environmental regulations and all the other costs of doing business in Nassau County, quite frankly. So this is not an investment that should be taken lightly, and it's certainly not. And the owner will absolutely protect that investment by maintaining this facility in the condition that you see here. It's going to be a beautiful beacon, honestly, within the center of this community, we believe. Thank you. I hope that answered the question, sir.
Chris, while you're up here, so I see that you want to have a convenience store. Is that going to be a 24-hour convenience store?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you're going to have how many employees there?
We're looking at a maximum of 3.
Okay, so how many parking spots do you have? You have 1, 2, 3, 4,
7.
5, 7.
Correct.
So are your employees going to park in the 3 spots?
So what we find, honestly, Mr. Supervisor, is that, these are, generally speaking, minimum wage jobs. So we tend to draw folks from the community that are local. A lot of times those people will either take mass transit or walk or bike ride to the site. However, there was 7 parking stalls. We've done studies at these facilities previously. As you know, I've been before this board many times on gas stations. And we find that, especially in a smaller facility like this, people tend to use the pump islands. The customers tend to park at the pump islands and come in. So we're thinking of those 3 employees, perhaps 1 to 2 will park at the property. 1 will probably be a walker or use mass transit. We never find on any of these locations that we've got a deficiency in parking. Typically, we find that most of the time, even in the busy hours, the parking stalls are predominantly empty. 3 to 4 are typically what's used.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at, I guess, your blueprint with one hand, then I'm looking at your rendering with another. And I'm looking, I'll point you down on the eastern portion of it. And I think I've matched them up pretty good here. On the eastern portion, below your pumps, abutting Uniondale Avenue, on your rendering, if you can go, see on that one, you got your canopy and then you got the road, and I just got to clarify, but on your rendering, you have like a divider, like with some, yeah, see that one there? See right where that thing is? It looks like a divider with plantings. Is that, maybe I'm not seeing it in the blueprint, is that in the blueprint? That right there?
Yeah, so you're talking about the planted area?
Yeah.
The curb cuts. Yeah, so if you could go back to the 3D rendering on the screen. Not the 3D, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the other one, right. I'm just trying to match it up on the, because I see this on your, on this one, see, I see the sidewalk, and then I see a sidewalk.
You see the brown area?
That little area right there?
Right.
That's going to look like the picture?
Well, so by way of explanation, and you have very sharp eyes, Mr. Supervisor, so we've been working with the county DPW vigorously to get this project approved. As you know, the DPW takes much longer than the town in these instances when on county roadways.
Condolences.
One of the issues, that they had requested is that we provide a passing lane around the outer edge of the pump island so that we can alleviate any traffic or backups at the curb cuts.
Right.
So that did pinch that a little bit, but we are going to put, it's 2 feet wide on one end and it diminishes to 6 inches on the other. There will be a barrier.
Like I said, the residents, they hate this place, rightfully so. The place is gross, and like I said, they want to be done. But I just want to make sure when it looks nice here, is going to look nice here. So if you can give us an updated version of what it's really going to look at, so we can make sure we keep everybody in the loop on it, that would be appreciated. And I do recognize DPW wants their walking lane there, but I just want to make sure the rendering's reflective of it. In addition, now I know you're abutting some commercial property there. I do know that there are a couple of residences back there. I know that in
Before they
particular
speak, I have a
on
couple
the west north side. Have you spoke to all those neighbors back there?
Have you met with them at all? Because that's normally what we do.
No,
You've
I
met
don't
with
believe
them?
that there's been any discussions with the residents.
well.
We are providing, where there is none today, we are providing, as Mr. Ingber indicated, significant landscaping and fencing, which they've never enjoyed before. So in terms of the conditions now and the conditions when this is done,
But
again,
still,
it's not even a
excuse me.
comparison.
It's one of the things that we like to do. Whenever something new is coming into the neighborhood, I usually call a meeting with the residents so they themselves can see and be aware of what you're doing. Now, the other thing that's bothering me is Uniondale is a one-way street. You know, you'll be coming, if you're coming in, you're going to come, that's one way. And also, the same thing with Jerusalem. Jerusalem Avenue is also one way. So how does the traffic get through to you? And if it's built up, what do you do about that? If there's a buildup, how do they get out? I guess they have to go out through Jerusalem Avenue. Is that what they go out? So they can't come in through Jerusalem Avenue. You know, because it's right there on the corner. And you see there's traffic lights there where you really get a ticket all the time.
So I guess respectfully, there are two-way curb cuts. We have right-in, right-out restrictions by the DPW, which is common, so there won't be any left turns made. That tends to, when you're making a right turn out, that tends to alleviate the condition of cars stacking at the curb cuts. But just by way of looking at the plan, so Uniondale Avenue, both of those curb cuts will be right-in, right-out only, so there's free access there. And then if they want to head on to Jerusalem Avenue, there's also right-in, right-out there as well. So this plan has been heavily scrutinized over the last year plus with the DPW and our office, and we believe we've got a very good plan here. The DPW has approved access.
I understand that, and I get what the deputy supervisor is saying in particular about, and I know you're saying nobody's going to make a left-hand turn. I understand that you're saying that. You're going to put up signage, you know, of course, in the area saying no left-hand turns, because coming across Uniondale Avenue, which forks off to a left-hand turn as single, I mean, you definitely don't want any blockage going that. So you're going to put up like extra signage telling people no left turn?
Absolutely. The DPW, I think, has us stalling somewhere around 15 to 20 signs, directional.
Even better.
It's what we can do.
Okay.
Hold on, before we go, I know there are a number of, before we make one,
Residents here?
residents want
Okay.
to be heard. And so if you kind of hang out there, and we'll hope some of the residents have to go. We'll start with Pearl Jacobs.
And I'd like my photos back, please. Pictures. I want them back.
Ms. Jacobs, just give your name and address for the record. Thanks.
Earl Jacobs, Uniondale. I just have one question for and can stop my clock when I ask the question, please. This location, the beautification, will it be maintained, landscaping? Would it be maintained? I'm talking to the people, the developers.
Okay,
Please stop running my clock, because
Ms.
you're running
Jacobs,
my clock
you
when
don't
they
have
ask
to yell.
my question.
We're going to stop the clock for you.
Now, you
Hold
only
on.
10 seconds.
If the clock was stopped, just so you know.
No, it was not.
No, it was.
10 seconds.
So I think a question was presented and the attorney for the developer wants you to, if you're going to do the beautification, you're going to have some commitment to maintaining the landscape in the community. Are you going to? Yes? Yes, okay.
And what sort of convenience store would it be? Stop my clock. He's asking my question. What would be the name of is it a bowler or what is, it's not a bowler, what is it?
What?
Yeah.
But Ms. Jacobs, we're trying to do, why don't you identify what kind of store it's going to be? If you could just go up to the mic so Ms. Jacob and any of the neighbors can hear, that would be great. I think this gentleman's coming up. If you'll identify yourself, that'd be awesome.
So the name on the sign is proposed to be a Zippy Mart, which is a new addition to the community. One of the things I did want to add is that with that use, they are proposing a very high-quality coffee and small food offering. It's not going to be like any of a recognized fast food brand, but it is going to be a sort of a higher end, if you will, coffee, Danish, and small breakfast sandwich offering, which is something that we really don't see anywhere in the community, and we think there's a real need for it.
Okay, as president of Nostrand Garden Civic Association, who advocates very strongly for Unidale, I have no opposition to this, this development, and I do not agree with the reserve decision on this development. I'm so happy that you're paying attention to Unidale now. I mean, how many years there was a Great Bear there, and it took almost 3 years to remove that Great Bear. It was a potential brownfield site. I have approximately 30, 40 correspondence back and forth with the buildings department regarding that brownfield site, that potential brownfield site, to remove and tear down that building. It took 3 years for the town to do something with that site and demolish it. Okay, so I'm so happy that you have some sort of concern about it now. This is not an issue as long as they, you know, bring beautification and do right by the community. I have no issue with that. Regarding the fencing that you spoke about, Councilwoman Gooseby, the white fencing, it had no fence there before. A fence came there because I emailed back and forth the buildings department to have them put a fence there because children were riding their bikes and the islands where they had taken the gas pumps had jagged edges sticking. And it was a dangerous situation, so I emailed. I can give you all of the emails. I have approximately 40 emails, okay? So for you to sit here and say that this is a concern and you're going to reserve decision, I think that's the height of hypocrisy. We need to move forward with this. It's a languishing. It has languished for many, many years. It doesn't need to languish anymore. And anytime there's some sort of proposal or development in Uniondale, is held up. Now, the permits were held up for quite a while. I don't know why they were held up like that. But we need to move forward, and we need to do what's right for our community. And if you want my correspondence back and forth, I can send you those correspondence because I have been sending emails back and forth regarding this issue for 4 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jacobs. I don't know if I have Matthew Ingber. Is he with you? Mr. Ingber, are you with them? No. No? Okay, good. If you give your name and address for the record, that'd be great. Right.
I already presented.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. He's with you. Matthew, what's my listen? Yep. Heidi Sampt. Hi, if you just give your name and address for the record, thanks.
Yes, hi, Heidi Saft, 116 Florence Avenue, borderline Hempstead and Uniondale. Also, just for the record, I'm the vice president of the Nostrand Garden Civic Association in Uniondale. My family has owned a home in the neighborhood, 6 blocks away from this proposed gas station since 1967. Long time. Okay, a few questions regarding signs. Do you have any plans on flashing signs for the gas station?
I think someone's shaking his head no, but you better answer the question so she can hear you. So your answer is?
No, we do not.
Okay.
Thank you, because we do not want any flashing signs. Number 2, I'm glad to hear you're planting flowers. Will you have a contract with someone to maintain the shrubs and the flowers in around the gas station? You'll have a contract, or because we don't just want talk, we want to know. Mm-hmm.
Yes, there'll be professional landscapers contracted to maintain the property.
Okay, thank you. And the last thing is, I'm very concerned about the plan on having this as a 24-hour convenience store, and I'll tell you why. Hello? It still works, okay. It's just not a good idea. In Uniondale, for the most part, these 24-hour convenience stores attract loiterers late in the evening. homeless people with nowhere to go, it's people with issues, whether it's drinking issues, mental illness issues, just loitering, begging for money. It's not a good idea. It's going to have a negative impact on the community. It'll just be another place where people hang out. And quite frankly, people who need something aren't going to want to go in there late hours in the evening. Just to give you an example from personal experience, there's a 7-Eleven in Uniondale. I did actually go in. And, people, you can just see that these are people who are down and out. You have to avoid them so that they don't ask you for your money. You feel unsafe when you're in the store. And it's just not a good thing for the community. And if this is an upscale shop, is this the first shop, the first business this person is creating? This, I forget what you call it, Zippy Mart? Is this, yeah.
Okay, Ms. Stamp, thank you.
Okay.
Maybe you've indicated it will be a 24-hour store. Do you have some sort of security or surveillance cameras or something like that?
All right, so just addressing sort of the earlier issues first. With regard to loitering, vagrancy, things of that nature, I've been doing this kind of work, 7-Eleven, convenience stores, gas stations, for over 30 years. And what we do find is indeed, when you pass by a 7-Eleven as an example, which are generally always 24 hours, you indeed might see those folks. The issue we have with closing at night is, honestly, if those folks really want to go somewhere and do something nefarious or something they don't want seen, we find that the worst thing that we can do is turn all the lights out and close the doors, because now we've got hiding places. When a facility is open 24 hours, we've got active employees who are able to call police or authorities as needed and monitor their property. I can't answer for how the 7-Eleven or the other folks, the other places you've seen are operated, but again, as I just indicated, our client is making an almost $3 million investment here. That's without the land. That's just construction cost. To think that he would allow this place to be run down and not operated properly really is a misnomer. It is not correct. They are making a substantial investment here in Uniondale on a blighted corner, which I think everybody in the room agrees needs a shot in the arm and an update. And the 24-hour use, we feel, not just from a financial perspective, but from the ability to police one's own property. When you're home, who best to guard your house but when you're home? When you're away is when you're concerned that something bad's going to go on. These folks are going to be home all day, all night, watching their property, calling the authorities, and making sure it's being operated properly. With regard to the facility owner and how he's going to develop, he's got over 30 years in the restaurant and food business. He took a minor break after he sold some of his businesses, and now he's getting back in with this. We are hoping, as is my client, that this is the first of several Zippy Mart facilities that we will see. Certainly this town has seen some first-class operators that I've represented, and I'm seeing the same sparkle in their eye in terms of how they want to operate this facility and be a good neighbor to the town.
Thank you very much. Next I have...
Can I just say one more thing? I think before
we-
a decision is
no, we
made,
gotta-
there should be a meeting on this issue.
We haven't made any decision yet. We have a number of residents who go through, and I know the deputy supervisor wanted to...
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanf. Did you want to add something? We still have more people.
The only thing I was wondering about where the garbage will go, that you have a garbage container?
Yeah, if you could just identify where it is, you're going to have the
Where
garbage
it's gonna be
container on the
located.
map.
Sure. So looking at the map, just towards if you're sitting at the pump islands, which are in the middle, looking towards the building, it would be on the left-hand side within an enclosure, a fenced enclosure.
Yeah, so it's over in the northwest corner?
Yes, sir. And those, understanding the next question is probably when will pickups occur. They're generally during off-peak hours, probably late morning or early afternoon.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have James Jacob. How you doing, Mr. Jacob? If you give me name and address, that'd be awesome.
I'm Mr. Clavin Supervisor and Deputy Supervisor. It's James B. Jacobs, because there's more and more Jacobs in Uniondale. So I appreciate you doing that for me. Good morning, everybody. If you notice, the recurring theme of the people speaking up here is about quality of life issues for us being a good corporate neighbor. Because we have other businesses that came into Uniondale, and once they got in Uniondale, they were not good neighbors of keeping up their property, keeping the regulars from their property, and so forth. My concern as a resident over 30 years is this new station, will it be EPA compliance? Will they have deliveries during the middle of the night to disturb my rest? Will they have activities that, will cause people that have undue attention drawn to it? See, because if you notice, everybody keeps talking about beautification and so forth, because you have other businesses that came in Uniondale, and once they got a foothold in Uniondale, like how you said about 7-Eleven and there's others, that once they got in, they started letting the place go down and be very trashy. And then Senior Deputy Supervisor, Councilman District Number 1, we take pride of where we live at. And for people to come in there, and before I forget anything, to the gentleman who's the owner in the place, if you come to Uniondale and speak to the neighbors in the surrounding of your property, be a good corporate neighbor, because people will appreciate doing business there, but they also like to be respected. Because I know if I go to somebody else's house, I try to abide by their rules and how they govern themselves. And also in the mere fact that when you do vote on this, take in consideration that people won't be involved with the decision and how it goes, because if it's going to be 24-hour place, when the gas trucks will be delivering, are they going to take away the old tanks that used to be there when it was a great band and so forth, for environmental concern? So this is what I'm speaking about. Because in Uniondale, like I say, you tell us that everybody's welcome to be here, but when we look at the redistricting maps, when we look at corporation business that come to Uniondale, it looks like the good ones go to the north side of Hempstead Turnpike, and they send us the stuff that like could consider leftovers, and I don't think I'm a leftover. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thanks, Mr. Jacobs. Will the gas station be in compliance with all EPA rules and DEC rules?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, it will. All the tank systems, everything is going to be brand new at this facility and state of the art.
And what about delivery? As Mr. Jacobs pointed out, he had some concerns about when delivery takes place.
So the fuel deliveries generally, as we discussed also with the trash, we try to schedule them on off-peak hours, typically during the day when the traffic is light. It's much safer to deliver during the day, so nighttime deliveries are something that we try to discourage, both for gasoline and for the for the store itself. Because this is a relatively small store, the deliveries will probably come via box trucks, and those probably will be on a frequency of perhaps 2 a day. There might go 2 days with none, and then maybe 3 on another day. They're generally on an as-needed basis. But there would be no tractor-trailer deliveries for goods to the store. And again, the tanker truck, of course, will, need to be there 3 or 4 times a week. And they're only there for about 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay, all right.
I'd like to ask you one more question. On the back fence, I see there's a home back there. I don't see it on there. Where's that home on this? You see it? See, look, this house right here. Okay, so I noticed the family has a big fence. They have a white fence up there. Would you be able to accommodate them so that they could have the same fence, and then that way they will not be disturbed by the fact that you have your garbage can and so forth back there?
Yes, indeed. All of our improvements will be on our side of the lot, and if they have a nice, beautiful fence in good condition, then we certainly won't disturb it. And that's there's a shed actually closest to the lot line. The house is set back closer towards the other street.
And if I see correctly, even on your site plan, you do have an array of greenery abutting those properties as a sort of like as a buffer. Is that correct?
Very dense evergreens that will grow to 15 feet in height within a couple of years of planting.
Okay.
Okay, so just make sure you have a fence as well. I'm
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
they want it, so you can talk to them and find out what they would like.
Yeah, 6-foot solid PVC fence is proposed along our entire line, and that will provide adequate buffering again with the evergreens.
Next, I have up Grace Barton. Ms. Barton, if you give your name and address when you get up there, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Hey.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Grace Bart, and I live at 565 Duryea Avenue. My house is directly in the back of where the gas station will be erected.
Excuse me, is that the gray house I'm looking at?
Yes, big house.
Okay,
in the back.
that's the house, sir.
That is my home, and I've been living there for near 40 years. I'm very concerned because previously the gas station that was there before, the fumes was toxic. Many times I had to call PSEG to come in to check if I had a leak coming from the gas station, coming from my home, whereas it was the gas station. And there's a passage right behind my fence, and you have derelicts going behind there. Next door you have derelicts. I'm very concerned. We weren't informed. Nobody discussed anything with us. I'm just hearing about this. I got a letter, and I decided to come in and to hear what was going on. I'm very concerned because they're telling you all these things, and I don't know if later on all these things will be kept up. This is my concern.
Right, and rightfully
My
so.
daughter and myself.
That's why the deputy supervisor and I asked if they had talked to the neighbors. And one thing I do think that warrants is a conversation with the neighbor. I can see where she's commenting about the other commercial property that probably is abutting your house. On the other side, there's an alleyway back there. I see exactly what your concerns are, and that's why I'm going to ask the proposers of this to meet with the neighbors. You got to get the input and their concerns. They've been there for a real long time, and you know what? They want to gain a lot of trust in anything that's being done there, and you guys are going to have to convince you that that's the case.
They definitely need to meet with us and let us know what's going on. We're
Okay.
left out of that.
Perhaps if you stay here, you can exchange your business card to do a follow-up. I think that would really be essential, okay?
And actually, what I normally do, and which I will do, I'm not sure whether this letter went out or not. We usually send a letter out. Once they send it to us, so all the people around it are invited to come so they can meet with you. And I think they will be able to do that. So we'll make sure of it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I don't have any other slips on this. Is there anybody that did not sign in for item number 10 that'd like to be heard? The gentleman in the back had his hand. Nope. Right behind you. He was first. There you go. How you doing? If you just give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Yeah, Chris Jacobs, Uniondale, New York. I just hope that this proposal, I understand you said you want to meet with the neighbors and everything like that, but a lot of the times, the organization I belong to, we ask a lot of things with sanitation and different issues like that. We don't get any meetings with the town, but that's another issue. I hope this has moved along quickly because for over 10 years now, it's been a brownfield site. It just got, I guess when the new owners took it over, it was fenced up, it was abandoned, accessible, and kids are tripping and falling all in it for years. And the only thing I'm thinking about right now is that I noticed that there was another gas station that I remember that was left abandoned for a long period of time, and that was a brownfield site in East Meadow. And I remember when Councilman Dunn ran for state senate, that thing was fixed up and put up in about a year and a half flat. So for myself and my neighborhood, not having it for over 10 years and you're trying to delay it, is just delaying our quality of life, and it should be.
Mr. Jacobs, just so you know, no one's delaying it, and in all due respect, you just heard from a neighbor that has some concerns. So we're having the hearing, and I don't want you to say we're delaying it because we haven't even made a motion, but you've now had, I think the somebody on the vice president actually said they should have a meeting. So we're trying to accommodate, but we have to address the neighbors. So don't think, I don't want you to say like we're delaying it because we're not. We're trying to facilitate and put people together.
I understand, but from my experiences, Supervisor Clavin, is that when things come to Uniondale and other communities, there's a delay and lack of communication with many other issues, such as sanitation, such as building code violations and everything like that. There's very little meetings and very little of that. So it's like you're picking and choosing when you want to have meetings with people and not. And basically, I always say anything that can improve any neighborhood, not just mine, but anybody else's, there should be transparency in meetings with people expeditiously. And I noticed that certain things when it comes to certain particular things around the town of Hempstead, which is the largest township, as I've always been told, is that what's good for some is not good for others. I don't think that's fair. I would do it a little differently. But as for this, I think it should meet with the neighbors, but whatever is done, whether you meet with the neighbors, and I respect all my neighbors that live along in the same community as I do, I think that the meetings and everything should be expeditiously done because abandoned gas station, brownfield sites are no good for anybody. That's including myself. That's including any neighborhood within the town of Hempstead. That's all.
Okay. I know I saw a couple of hands back there. The gentleman there, did you want to speak or not? You're going to, okay. Yes, if you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Mita J. Maraday. Where does one start? I'm just confused as to where all this, again, I'm for development. I pass by that area all the time and kind of see the decay and the delay, and knowing that there is a 7-Eleven right across the street, I don't know how that's going to impact their business if Zippy has a higher grade, even though it seems like we're just bringing more processed diabetes and high blood pressure and stroke generating foods into our neighborhoods. I don't remember anybody saying anything about a salad or, something of that nature. But again, that's what happens here. My concern is that there was more discussion about the trees, which, trust me, it's nice to hear that you're going to have somebody contracting, because there's never been a tree or a blade of grass on that property in the decades that it's been left abandoned. So that is a good thing. But to hear that you hadn't had any conversation with the residents, I'm sure that there are other communities that would have been up in arms. Maybe their leadership would have said something, or maybe hosted a meeting prior to this, because that is concerning. And no one, again, in the leadership positions that utilize our millions of dollars in tax funding, mentioned anything about the compliance with regard to storm generation. Winter, there are some gas stations, I don't know if those are the ones in your 30-year experience, Mr. Tartaglia. I have a problem when people don't listen when I'm speaking and it directs to them. That's just an issue for me. But those locations where the gas stations are not kept up for people who are walking or traveling. We have snow, we have rain, we have things of that nature, we have ice. Trash is one issue, but we're in a storm zone, okay? Do you have generators? What is the support systems? Are you going to be hiring locally within the community? I know if Councilman Dunn was here, he'd be asking, is there going to be a flag? How many disabled parking spots are going to be there? There's going to be a reference, a corner for veterans. We have a strong community in Uniondale. We have a lot of veterans there. I mean, where is all of that? Where were the questions for that? If you're going to reserve the decision, then make the decision based upon a wide range of answers, but don't hold up the necessity for something to be in that community, but do it right. Be consistent. Those that live in Uniondale and the bordering neighbors, we're in Baldwin and Roosevelt. We want the same consideration from our elected officials that you would give to the 5 towns, that you would give to these other communities that have people that come up here and speak their hearts and their guts out and take time off to come to a day meeting to be, pushed aside like, well, we're doing the best that we can. It's not just about the trees, sir. It is also about the safety. So let's get it right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Maraday.
You don't have to say anything about the poll because you already have that in the script. I saw that. I know that.
Here's my question. Maybe you want to identify how many handicap parking spots there are. I think you said there were 7. On the rendering, I know you had up there, but maybe you just want to verify that for Ms. You had 7 spots. How many are handicapped?
One of the handicaps is required and provided.
Okay. And that is, I was going to say, that's in compliance, correct?
Yes, and we're happy to put a flagpole up if the community would like it, or the town board. Happy to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I don't have any other slips. Is there anybody else that did not sign in that wishes to be heard?
And just for the record, the public notice for this hearing was sent out to the property owners within a 300-foot radius of the site on January 25th. It had our office's contact information, and we didn't receive any phone calls from residents. I just wanted to clear it up for the record that we're not coming in here without proper notice. In addition, there were public notice signs, one posted on Uniondale Avenue, as well as one on Jerusalem Avenue. So this application wasn't a surprise. It was properly noticed pursuant to the town code.
I know that you have them on the fences, and I know that you've been working, but you didn't send a notice to me so that I could be assured that the residents had gotten them. You should, anytime you're doing anything, you have to send a notice to my office.
Okay.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thanks.
And I got the chance to see all of this stuff, and it blew my mind. I really did. And there's much more up here that I have. So just want to make sure that the ones, I know it's 300 100-mile radius that you do for them? So how many letters did you send out?
Yeah, we sent out the public notice letter, one from our attorney letter, and as well as the resolution issued by the town board from about a month ago, setting the public hearing for today. So there were 2 letters within the.
Is anyone here who received one of those letters?
The neighbor did, Mrs. Grace did.
Who did? Oh,
Grace,
Miss
you got the
Grace
letter,
did.
right?
Right. Is she here? Oh, you received the letter, Miss Grace? Okay, thank you. All right, well, I'm going to make a motion that we reserve decision. Second? Anybody second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin?
Yeah, I'm going to do that, but I will tell you in particular, Ms. Grace and the other neighbors, I think you should take the time to meet with them, alleviate their concerns, talk to them about the project.
We will. Yeah, we'll speak with them right after this.
Okay. All right, so I'll support the motion to reserve decision.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye.
Would you provide a list of those people that you sent the letters to from up to my
yes.
office, please?
Yeah, I could.
Okay,
While
thank you.
you're walking out, just do me, if you just grab particular Mrs. Grace and any of the adjoining neighbors and maybe get their business card so you can, get that conversation going, all right?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Redistricting of the Town of Hempstead's councilmanic districts to be codified as an amendment of Chapter 7A of the Hempstead Town Code.
Okay. At this time, the board and I wish to inform the public that this public hearing will begin today and be continued on February 14, 2023 at 7 p.m. here at the Bennett Pavilion in Hempstead Hall.
Mr. Supervisor, with your permission, since the public hearing will begin today and be continued to February 14, 2023 at 7 p.m., it is one continuous public hearing. So I wish to remind the public that consistent with Town Board Rule 7A1, and just as we do at the town's budget hearing, each participant can speak either today or on September 14, 2023 at 7 p.m.
I'm sorry.
But not both. Again, it is one continuous public hearing, so a speaker cannot make comments twice. Supervisor, I would also like to read a brief statement with yours and the board's permission.
Of course.
As the redistricting process has advanced, the town has acutely focused on creating districts that are fair and compliant with all applicable federal and state laws. Further, we have attentively considered residents' input. We've incorporated other redistricting considerations. We considered compactness, respect for communities of interest, and minimize the dividing of villages and hamlets across multiple districts. I would also like to add to the record a letter that we received from the Baldwin Oaks Civic Association dated February 6th, and this statement, as well as the executive summary that was handed out to each and every member of the public who came in today, with one amendment. On page 1, with regard to District 2, it indicates that 4 districts are in District 2 from Uniondale, when in actuality the map proposed today, only 3 districts, election districts, are included in District 2.
All right, thank you, Mr. Macaron. All right, any member of the board wish to have a comment on this? If not, I have a number of speakers. When I identify, if you go to the back and give your name and address for the record, that would be awesome. We'll start with Daniel Caracciolo. Still is. Your name and address, thanks.
Daniel Caracciolo, 8 Williamson Street, East Rockaway. My pronouns are he, him. I'd like to just kind of set the level for the redistricting here. I've been highly involved in the commission and watching things kind of progress, listening to people, meeting new people the last couple of months since November. It's Black History Month, right? And all of our communities are having Black History events and understanding the trials and tribulations that so many of our community members have faced over the years. Our community in the town of Hempstead is changing. It's evolving. We need to adapt to keep communities compact. We cannot push Baldwin split. We cannot continue to split West Hempstead. We cannot think about putting Valley Stream and Elmont not together. These communities are one. The proposed district and map that is currently on the screen, in my personal opinion, I live in East Rockaway. I live in a predominantly white district. I am just mystified that Lakeview would be included in our district. I am mystified that my friends in Freeport are in the same district as Seaford and Wantor. These things are really important to equitable representation. And we need to understand as we grow as a town and continue to adapt and move forward that voters need to choose their council people. Council people should not choose their voters. I'm going to repeat. Voters should choose our people who are elected. Our elected officials should not choose our voters. When we continuously gerrymander our districts, we snuff out people who have been underrepresented in our community since the dawn of this town of Hempstead, which I just walked past was since the late 1600s. There has been so much change and so much adaptation. And when we talk about being scared of Queens coming into our neighborhoods, we are covertly racist. Okay? We are saying that we do not want people of color in our neighborhoods. We are saying that we are frustrated because of overcrowding. When we combat that with no to local zoning and abolishing or whatever the case may be regarding changing the fabric of community and saving our suburbs, we are doing a disservice to our suburbs if we do not equitably represent the people of our communities. And I'm sorry to say that our community is changing. If that offends you, I'm sorry. It doesn't offend me. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, I have Chris Jacobs. Chris Jacobs? How you doing? If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Chris Jacobs, Unionville, New York. Basically, I think the map is unfair. It cuts too many districts. I'm looking at this one with a previous one when Unionville was still divided, and Unionville, all the residents of United States should remain whole. I'm noticing that I labeled this thing called the Wonder Hump right by the Coliseum, and I'm thinking that's because I said, okay, if County Executive Blakeman gets what he wants and gets that thing over there that's going to bring down the quality of life, I love how they Wonder Hump it into Unionville to say, okay, that's your problem, guys, and anything crime-related and other things that will be brought with that will be our problem. But I think the map should be redrawn. It divides too many things. It doesn't have any continuity with any kind of districts of each other. And Unionville should remain whole. It only goes from the southern state to all country roads. So for such a small hamlet to be divided like that is unfair. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Jacobs. Next, I have Grace Barton. Grace Barton? Okay. Next I have Pamela Korn. How you doing? If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Pamela Korn, 80 Harris Avenue, Hewlett. I do want to speak on redistricting, but I do have to mention that I'm upset that I am not represented because my councilman is now in D.C. and I don't have representation at this point on the town board. So I'm hoping that will be taken care of shortly. As far as the redistricting, I've been here for several of the hearings. I was here when Attorney Frederick Brewington very eloquently presented legal documents, a legal letter. As a taxpayer, I am concerned that if the proposed maps end up in court, it will be another over decade like it was with the Mrs. Goosby's case, who, by the way, is an icon in voting rights, and I thank her. I just feel that the board has a fiduciary responsibility to its taxpayers to make sure that these proposed maps do not end up in court, possibly going all the way to the Supreme Court like the Gooseby case. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Korn. Next, I have Paul Bua. Morning. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Hi there, my name is Paul Bua, 738 Clifford Court, Baldwin, 52-year resident property owner, Baldwin. I just have a few comments. I support the Baldwin Civic Association's letter they sent to you for One Baldwin. Baldwin has been blighted for over 2 decades. We are now mixed use, and we have DRI and lots of funding for development. I'm concerned that we have the representation to manage the policies to bring Baldwin back to where it should be. I'm also concerned that these districts are split down Sunrise Highway. Long Island Railroad is down Sunrise Highway. And I know there's some policies that some of our representatives don't agree with about incurring funding for housing where transit hubs are. So if these districts are going to be, or towns will be split right between Long Island Railroad, you cancel each other's votes out in order to determine housing. That's an issue that I find relevant. Also, in terms of the process here, which has been pretty opaque, if you have a public website that asks for public comments, they should be public in real time for voters to read and engage with. I don't understand why it hasn't been throughout the process. And, you know, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If and when you choose to show public comments to people, please let us know when. If not, why not? Because I think that's important to the process here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Janine Maynard. How you doing? If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Janine Maynard. I live at 255 Perry Street in Hempstead. I'm part of the greater Uniondale area, and I'm here to speak on the changes that are proposed for councilmatic districts 1 and 2. First, I want to say that the recommendations that were made and the paperwork that went in when that was described had some problems. Our Commissioner Brazeley's comments were taken somewhat out of context. She had made clear statements in the record on the 19th of January that communities and their properties were to be together. So I'll quote, in the transcript section of the report from the 19th, page 7 and between lines 7 and 14, said Hempstead and Uniondale, separating the people from the real estate, I think, is the issue. And they are not addressed in all the maps. So we have Hempstead as well. Hempstead is not whole either. She was clearly stating that the definition of a whole community was about a community and its assets, and not just a community and its members. And that has continued to be a misinterpretation that's flowed forward in all the written explanations of what's going on. To wit, today's paper. Today's executive summary under District 1 describes that it includes the entire communities of Hempstead, West Hempstead, Roosevelt, and the vast majority of Uniondale. And then in District 2, it refers to, as discussed above, the board's plan accommodates public request to keep Uniondale whole as much as practicable by only placing the remaining small portion of the community in District 2. So I have our CDP map. By whose definition is this a small portion of our community? This is Uniondale. This map is Uniondale. and your document is defining all of this space as small, in whose definition is that small? Vast majority means this, and yes, it's a lot of residential space, and a little hump out of this area. And that's a small majority of our space.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Maynard.
It's not accurate.
I appreciate it. If you want to make a submission of that, you can. That would be great. Next, I have Susan Kay.
I want to finish with saying we do not support this map.
Understood. Thank you so much. Next, I have Susan Kay. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
I'm Susan Kay. I live at, my address is 265 Sunrise Highway in Rockville Center. Your map that you have of the redistricting shows Valley Stream nowhere near Elmont. There's a part of Valley Stream known as the Floating District. They pay Valley Stream school taxes, but they do not live in the incorporated village. They cannot belong to the pool. They have no library. That for years they vote on the Elmont Library. They pay to join it. With your new map, they are nowhere near Elmont. This is gerrymandering. You like gerrymandering so we can have people like Santos and Desposito elected to Congress. What are we teaching our children and grandchildren? It's okay to lie. It's okay to cheat. It's okay to be a former cop and screw up. They both belong in jail in orange bunny suits. And I will end with one more thing. Go build your casino. Go build, have human trafficking. There's a hotel right next door. Go build your casino and have a Las Vegas shooting in your own backyard.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, I have Thomas Tinneman. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Tom Titman, 50 New York Avenue in West Hempstead. First, a land acknowledgement. We are on the stolen lands of the Merrick and Lenape tribes. The land grab is basically what we've been talking about, financially taking profitable areas and moving them into other districts. Enough said. I want to use some song lyrics that apply very much to this particular issue. The song is called Just Change the Boundary, the gerrymander song. We got kind of nervous as we read the polling news. Of course, we sure need our paychecks, perks, and titles, too. We looked at the addresses where we lost the vote and such, and then we had a great idea that wasn't cheating much. Just change the boundaries, redraw the lines. People in these districts vote the wrong way every time. We'll move the borders and we'll dominate. First take away the people's choice, and then we'll rule the state. These precincts came about through logic or geography. They're not carved in stone, so there's flexibility. Our party has to hold a state if we're to change the tide. No one will beat us with new districts on our side. And then the chorus. To steal elections discriminate, well, the other party may fight them, but it'll be too late. We'll blame the others as we dominate, and we'll hold all the purse strings by coincidence or fate. Just change the boundaries, redraw the lines. people in these districts vote the wrong way every time. First, take away the people's choice, and then we'll rule the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Lorraine Adias. If you just give me name and address for the record when you come up there.
Good morning. My name is Lorraine Atias. I live in East Meadow. So it's very hard for someone like me who grew up during the tumultuous years of the civil rights movement, when people of color fought and died for voting rights, to comprehend that we have to stand here and beg our town leaders to simply do what's right, to assure that all residents of this town have the constitutional right to fair representation. We've been through this battle before, and yet here we are again. Have you not been listening to the people, to the taxpayers, the citizens, who are simply asking you to make sure that the redistricting maps of the town of Hempstead are fair and reflective of all the residents, so that the residents will be assured that each and every one of their voices will be heard and matter at the ballot box within the communities in which they live and work and send their children to school, and that they will have the opportunity to elect candidates who represent their needs? Why is this so difficult to understand? Is this based on the fear that eventually minorities will become the majority? I think I know the answer to that. I think we all do. All we're asking is not to have the voices of minorities suppressed by unfair redistricting. I respectfully am saying that you really need to listen to the people, and the people will not be silenced.
Thank you. Mimi Pierre Johnson. Just give your name and address for the record. Thanks.
Mimi Pierre Johnson, 70 Crystal Street, Elmont. So everything I was going to say, everyone said it, so my time. So fair representation is very important. None of us throughout these weeks and months with redistricting on all levels has talked about, the political aspect of what will happen in a real way, because we can, but we are not, we're not doing that. What we're simply asking for is the next 10 years, the decision that you make is going to affect our children, some of us our grandchildren. And you are almost there. The commission, if you listen to the conversations of the commission, the last meeting that was supposed to be a working meeting, however, at the end of the meeting, the lawyer puts out a resolution. That baffled me, because if you're having a working meeting and you're supposed to talk about what the people have said so that you can have a fair and legal map, the resolution shouldn't have been already written as to what you're going to vote on. So I don't know if the board know that happened, but that's wrong. And secondly, we talk about the things that we don't want to see on the maps because that's our life, our everyday life. And it's really important for the town because you make decisions that matter to us aesthetically, right? So when you're making decisions about our roads, our lights, our traffic, cleaning, all those things are taxpayers' services that are provided by the town. Do you think Garden City, I don't ever remembering anyone from Garden City being a part of this, do you think they care whether Village Avenue, Elmont Road, Dutch Broadway gets swept or not? I can tell you, we don't get that type of service. And so there are like minimal things to some people that are great to us. And sometimes people ask the question, Why is it that some neighborhoods are better than others aesthetically? Well, the town, you have something to do with that. But these decisions that you're making, those are the things on those maps. So when we tell you that North Valley Stream, our children from Elmont Memorial High School lives there, and you cut them out, you cut those parents out. Where are they supposed to go? In the 5-town? That's what you're doing to us when you separate. And, you know, your resolution says about contiguous and all. No, interest is very important to us. Interests of our communities is important to us. So the town board, you have a chance to say today.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
You have a chance to say today.
I got to hold the 3 minutes.
This is a decision of 10 years. You have a chance.
I appreciate it. I got to go on. We have the, Ms. Johnson. ladies and gentlemen, I get yelled at if I don't hold it to the 3 minutes. Trust me.
Okay.
I get yelled at all the time. Next, please, ladies and gentlemen, we have a rule. It is 3 minutes. It is a 3-minute rule. We're very respectful of it. If you'd like to supplement, I think the town attorney said you could also supplement with an email or something along those lines. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Next, I have up Judy Cataldo. No, I'm not, Ms. Pierre. No, I'm not. Judy Cataldo. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Judy Cataldo. Thank you, Ms. Okay. Judy, thank you, Ms. Johnson. Thank you. No, Ms. Johnson, thank you so much. Judy Cataldo, are you here? Okay, thanks. Okay. Ms. Cataldo? Okay. Ms. Merida. Would you like to be heard? No, I'm calling you now, so if you want to speak. No, it's signed in. I have a whole order here. Okay, so, but I'm, okay, great. Okay, Felix Bercacci. Thank you so much. Okay. Next, Felix, Ms. Bercacci, thank you. Hey, how you doing? If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. What are communities of interest as referenced in the statement, in the documents that the town handed out? What is that called? What is that reference? Communities of interest.
Communities that have like interests, have like concerns, and school districts, libraries, villages, hamlets. You will notice that there are, between hamlets and villages, 60 in the town of Hempstead, and 56, according to this map, are made whole. Only 4 are split, and one of them is Uniondale. And a common misconception that has been spoken about is that for economic reasons in Uniondale it was split. In actuality, the people came to the hearings and they raised that concern, and if you look at the map, the actual area that they thought was the economic basis that was being taken out of Uniondale was actually the area around the Coliseum. And based upon those requests, this town board answered that request and placed it in District Number 1, which is what everyone who got up at the redistricting meetings indicated they wanted.
Okay. I was at all the meetings regarding redistricting. The 2 things that got brought up at every meeting, I didn't count how much of each, was 1, keep communities together, like Baldwin, Hempstead Village, Franklin Square, Merrick, everybody. And the second thing was the focus on a minority-majority district. But in your work session, which we weren't allowed to speak, Gary Hughes got up and said that he has 2 ears so he could listen twice as much he could speak, but he never, everybody was yelling out minority district, but that was not put on the recommendation to the town board. Now, my question regarding that is, what effort did whoever made up these maps make in order to include a majority-minority district in these maps? What effort was made, if any?
The law firm that was hired by the town board to draw the maps was Troutman, Pepper, Hamilton, Sanders, and redistricting expert Sean Trendy. And their recommendation is that this map, based upon the statistics of the town, complies with federal and state statutes. And that's why it's being presented.
Okay, the question was, what effort was made to make a majority-minority district? Was any effort? If the answer is yes, say yes. If any effort, no effort, then say no.
Mr. Bacacci,
Or just answer the question, though.
Mr. Bacacci, you asked a question. You don't get to put parameters on it, okay?
Well, if somebody answers something that has nothing to do with what I said, I'm not putting parameters on it. I'm asking the question where I require an answer. I mean, if you could tell me what the weather's like, I didn't ask that question. I think I have a right to direct him to what my question is. I don't think I'm out of my bounds of my question is about that. Just say yes or no. Or you don't know. One or the other.
Mr. Bacacci, you asked a question and then said, you know, it's either this or that. That's directing how someone's going to answer. That isn't appropriate. You said yes or no.
It makes it easy for you.
No.
Okay, answer it in detail. I didn't get an answer yet. I got an answer saying that it's in accordance with federal law, but what about the minority district? That's the question.
Mr. Bacacci.
Yes.
There are federal and state laws that govern redistricting. Our attorneys, with their legal expert, complied with those requirements, we believe.
Okay, how many majority-minority districts are in your plan? How many?
No.
How many?
I think, Mr. Bacacci, I think the town attorney said, you know, that.
No. How many? Now I'm asking a different question. How many minority-minority districts are in this map? How many?
Mr. Bacacci, I think.
I'm asking a question. That's a number 1 through 6. It's pretty easy.
Mr. Bacacci, I think the town attorney.
He didn't answer that. You want to repeat what he said?
Mr. Bacacci, I think that the town attorney respectfully said that the attorneys have said we comply with both state and federal guidelines. And
how many majority-minority districts? That's the question. How many?
I don't know if that's in his purview to answer the question. I think he's really answered it.
That's a question. I'm asking a question. Say you don't know if you don't know.
But nobody said that, Mr. Bacacci.
Well, say something besides repeating something that I'm not asking.
The statistics speaks for themselves. Over and over again, people have come up here and said that they are going to sue based upon the maps. Based upon my advice and the advice of counsel, that is a question that will ultimately be determined by a court of law. Okay?
So you're taking the Fifth Amendment for the record.
No,
you're taking the Fifth
not
Amendment.
taking the Fifth Amendment. You don't like the answer to the question.
No. But
we gave out statistics.
I'm clarifying what you said.
We gave out
taking
statistics.
the Fifth Amendment.
We gave out statistics, demographics that were handed out to every person.
You can't say it though.
Okay, and they
can't
speak for
say
themselves.
John, hold it, Mr. Bacacci. By yelling, you're not alleviating anything. I think the town attorney respectfully gave you an answer. He's provided.
A question I didn't ask.
No, Mr. Bacacci, again, people gave you an answer. You might not like his answer. I can't help it, but I think he did give you the answer.
If he told me what the weather was outside, I wouldn't like that answer either. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bacacci. Yes, Emil Varanen? How you doing? If you give your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
Emil Varani, Valley Stream. I want to speak on the redistricting. This commission, the way it's been run, it's just like a car dealership negotiation. But just like when somebody goes and negotiates for a car, the average person will always lose. And this is exactly what we've seen in the town's final maps. Not only does the final map split several hamlets, but it fails to create new majority-minority districts. The Elmont Cultural Center, as well as Mr. Brewington's map, included 3 majority-minority districts. When former Councilman Gary Hughes asked Dorothy Brazeley if she favors the Bluebird map with some tweaking, she said yes. I asked the town attorney, does this final map look like the Bluebird map with some tweaking? Okay. In the end, we only see one majority-minority district, just like the current map. The town has failed to even listen to the only lone Democrat on the commission, clearly a show of partisan politics. And when it comes to the hamlets, yet again, we see them split in the final map. And we see this is an instance where Mr. D'Agostino, the Republican on the commission, who highlighted specific communities, such as West Hempstead, were split up, not even put into a single district. And he even asked for North Valley Stream to be included with Elmont, and that was not included. But perhaps what's most troubling is how even amongst your own lines, this map is ridiculous. Going back to North Valley Stream residents use the Elmont Library, yet they're split into two. The town attorney, you mentioned how library districts should be kept together, yet they're split up, contradicting your own commission member and contradicting residents who asked for Elmont and Valley Stream to be kept together. In addition, Sanitation District 6, under the town of Hempstead, serves communities such as north of the village of Valley Stream. Those areas are split up. And when it comes to garbage collection, I want to emphasize it's not a Democrat or Republican issue. When a resident has an issue with their garbage pickup, they may not understand what sanitation districts are, especially since you people never advertise them. And as an example of this, the sanitation district in the Atlantic Beach Estates and East Atlantic Beach has no public hearings, no website, or even elections that are advertised. But suppose you do have an issue. Which elected official do you call if your district is split 2 or 3 times? And by splitting residents who live in common communities, such as in your own drawn sanitation districts as well as library districts, you're making it confusing for the residents who live in these districts. And while I hope the town will try to avoid costly litigation and not keep this current gerrymander in place, I know you won't do that, so I hope that we will all do whatever it takes to stop you guys in court. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I'm going to call up Karen Montalvano. Good afternoon. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
My name is Karen Montalbano. I live in Baldwin. I'm also the Baldwin Civic Association Government Liaison. We came here and we noted that Baldwin had 3 representatives, a little bit up north, a little bit down south, most of us together. Now you cracked us into 2 along Sunrise Highway. Why can't you keep 4 square miles whole? Baldwin gets no love. We had an overlay zone we negotiated out, and for 2 years you did not appoint a design review board. And then you try to put a year moratorium on, and then you got a 45-day moratorium to basically do and announce that what was already there you were going to do. Now you're putting half of Baldwin in an area where we don't even know who is going to be representing us. We have no way of talking to anybody, okay? You are splitting the jurisdiction along Sunrise Highway. You're splitting the DRI zone that is there, the overlay zone. You keep talking about the notes on keeping communities together, yet you have split and cracked Baldwin in half. You're splitting, according to your notes, you shouldn't be splitting, a school district. You're splitting a library district. Notably, anybody who has come in here has not been in support of these maps. Why can't you keep 4 square miles of a small hamlet, which has not been even represented well by this board, intact? Obviously, we are against what these maps stand for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day. Next, I have David Thomas. Hey, Mr. Thomas, good afternoon. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
I didn't hear that.
Good afternoon. I said if you give your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Oh, my name is David Thomas. I live on 552 Ashcote in Uniondale. And I'm here to oppose what you guys are trying to do with Uniondale in terms of taking away our tax base and reducing our district. You know, this is supposed to be Black History Month, and we're supposed to be able to celebrate what blacks have been doing for our country. But this reminds me of a time when Europe went into Africa and just split it up. We're just splitting us up. There was a time when Uniondale District was 90% Caucasian, 10% minority. Now we're most minority, or you consider yourself minority, and we are being taken, the base from which we can survive is being taken away from us. You guys propose a map that represents nothing but a sham. This is a political hit. When are you guys going to stop? What does it take for us to live in a community where we are comfortable with what we have and not you guys keep taking away from what we have? I would hope that this map, this redistricting, would not go through, and we'll continue our fight to make sure that Uniondale remains whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Jonathan Provis? How you doing? Good afternoon. If you give me your name and address for the record.
Sure. Jonathan Prevost with the Bolden Oaks Civic Association. Members of the town board, Supervisor Clavin, Deputy Supervisor Gooseby, pleasure to see you all again. I come today as a resident of Baldwin to first and foremost state that no one in the Baldwin community is in favor of these maps. Essentially, reviewing this map that is on the board that you see here, Baldwin is being divided. It is being divided by the North and South, which has always been historically an issue that was created by realtors. We cannot allow something like this to continue. Furthermore, as a resident of North Baldwin, I fall in the Uniondale School District. I was deeply saddened to see that the economic base of Uniondale is being cut out of Uniondale, a predominantly community of color that has a long and rich history. Furthermore, as a representative of the Bolden Oaks Civic Association, I strongly do not support this map, and I urge the town board to please reconsider the points that have been made here by the people who have taken their time from their busy lives and their schedules to make sure that their voices are heard, because they believe that this 10-year plan will have a domino effect that is not in favor of the people that is meant to serve. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We're going to have to take a 15 minutes going to work for you? We're going to have to take a 15-minute break for the stenographer has to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to, why don't we say we'll reconvene at 12:30. It's 12:10 now, and thank you very much.